Well, it's Friday. It's the Parleh Roundtable. James Sharman, Albert Vartanian, and Shawn McCormick making his debut. How exciting. Shawn's a big baseball fan, by the way, so it's good timing because obviously in a week that saw the Jays fire their manager, Charlie Montoyo. Lots of conjecture and discussion about this move. Everywhere you read and listen, fellas, he's the nicest guy in the world, great human being. He's a lovely, lovely dude. But does that make a great manager? Was he almost too nice? Did that work against him in the end?
I think so, at least in the Jays fans' eyes. I think when it came down to the decision of letting him go, the front office was like, listen, we need to make a change. We should be one of the teams in contention for the World Series, and they still are. They're in a wild card spot, so it's not all lost in this season, but they've been sliding heavily. I mean, you go on a road trip, you go 1-6, you get swept by Seattle. Last night against the Royals, they're missing 10 of their players, and they lose that game as well. They don't even have a starter on the mound. It's a bullpen game. So there's obviously an issue with the Toronto Blue Jays. There needs to be some change, and I guess they just thought, listen, Montoyo's not that guy.
Is it a case of this guy was right for the time when he first got hired? He had a couple of decent seasons, of course, right? A very young team coming through, but there comes a point in most sports teams where the manager does need to evolve, and if you're not going to evolve, it's time to move on to a new manager.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think having Montoyo there for, when Bo and Vladdy were very young and just having that nice guy to sort of ease them into the game and ease them into the major league level, I think that was perfect for what the Toronto Blue Jays needed. But now they're in win now mode. You only have a couple of years left of Vladdy and Bo on contract, at least until they re-sign or whatever. But now you have to figure out what's next. Is John Schneider the guy? I'm not sure either. We'll figure that out. But this time to move on from Charlie Montoyo was now, for sure.
Bo Bichette was quite forthright in his comments about the decision to fire Charlie Montoyo. Does that tell you, Albert, that he had lost the room and that those young players who at one point were obviously big fans of the manager at some point lost the message?
Yeah, well, he definitely lost one in Bo Bichette. So if he lost him, which is a key part of that team, I don't know if he's one of the leaders in that team, but I'm assuming that he is based on, the seniority he has in that team at the moment. So if you lost him, he's probably lost a few more of those players. And if you're losing, at least one key guy, that's going to have some sort of trickle-down effect, I think, to the rest of the team. And so I think that's another reason maybe why the front office decided maybe this guy's got to go. I mean, if he's losing the guys that we need, the guys that we want to eventually re-sign, the guys we want to win with now, then he's got to go.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too, because I mean, if Bo's looking at it and he's blaming the manager, right? These players have the utmost a belief in their abilities on the field. So if they're losing games, I mean, yeah, they're going to accept some of the blame, but some of the blame's got to go somewhere else, whether it be to Montoyo or, the GM or whoever. You got to look at it that way. And if somebody's lost faith in Montoyo, then the rest of the room, like you said, will probably also have lost a bit of faith.
And now maybe with John Schneider, I'm not saying he's a good coach or a bad coach, but maybe they're catering to the players. Hey, listen, John Schneider. You work with him when you're younger in the minors. He brought you guys up when you were teenagers, and Vladdy and Bo. So it can be a way where the front office is pleasing the players and bringing in a fresh face. So it's a win-win for them if everything goes well for the Jays for the rest of the season.
Well, as our Justin Pooney said this week, you can't trade all the players. Although you can.
You can.
You can technically do that. Yeah. And maybe that would be a good option. You get pretty good return, I think, for all the Jays.
Oh, you would, yeah.
It wouldn't be bad at all. From baseball now to hockey, and free agency is always crazy. It's still crazy, There could be a Kadri signing by the time we finish taping today, for example. But the move that really stunned everyone was Johnny Gaudreau, Johnny Hockey, going from Calgary to Columbus. Yeah. Now, the rumors were he's going to go nearer home in the New Jersey area. He leaves Calgary, fair enough. But if you're a Calgary fan right now, this guy's been there for day one. You're reliant on him. He's kind of held the team to ransom to a certain point. In the end, takes less money, less term, goes to a rebuilding team in, let's be honest, not really a hockey market.
No.
Has his legacy been tarnished too much, do you think, at Calgary now?
It's tough to say. I mean, the tarnish of the legacy, I mean, to be honest, I don't think he had much of a legacy. I mean, in Calgary, he's a standout player. I mean, he finished second in points last year, so impressive campaign for sure. I just don't think now that he moves to Columbus, maybe it gives him a chance to be the guy. Maybe that was something for him. I mean, some people thought it was because of family that he left, But I mean, Columbus to New Jersey is like I don't know, 10-hour drive. It's not like you're that close. I mean, sure, it's closer than Calgary, but I mean, you're not that close. So I don't think that's it. Take less money and less term. It didn't make sense to me. It was mind-boggling.
There's always more to the story, and obviously we're not privy to all the information. He was mentioning that the only time he's ever been to Columbus was when he started playing in the NHL. He's like, I love the arena, I love the city, and the crowds were great.
He loves the cannon that goes off every time
He gets
scores
scared
a
of the
goal.
cannon.
It's a cannon.
No, it's strange. It's very strange. But I'm sure there's more at play. It has maybe something to do with his wife, who I know is a nurse, and there's something with the Sick Kids Hospital in Columbus. So there could be something along those lines. Family has to play into these things at some point. It's more than hockey.
How dare these athletes, honor
Think
their
about their
contracts
families.
and then decide that, for my family, I want to go some. How dare you?
But with that said, in the hockey world, he's Johnny Hockey, but outside of that, who's Johnny Gaudreau?
I mean, still also $16 million.
No, it's a lot of money, but I'm just saying, you were mentioning maybe he wants to go there and be the guy, but
maybe he doesn't. Maybe he wants the anonymity of playing in that market.
That's
Could be that.
true. That's true
Make
as well.
Pretty good money still.
Yes.
Right? And in Calgary, Calgary's a hockey hotbed. Maybe a small market in all things considered, but I don't know.
They hate him.
They hate him now, right? And they did not want to see him go, unlike Ottawa, who wanted to see Matt Murray go. And the Leafs allowed that to happen very quickly on Matt Murray. Listen, he was a 2-time Stanley Cup champion, but he's replacing Jack Campbell, who, again, had no legacy in Toronto, per se, but Leaf Nation's up in arms. What do you think? Are you up in arms there, Shawn?
I am a Leafs fan, so I keep my eyes close to the situation.
Let it out, man.
No, I mean it's not a huge move. Would I prefer Campbell? Yes, I would prefer Campbell. I think he's probably more skilled. You get Murray on literally a little bit of less money than you would have had to sign Campbell for.
25%.
Yeah, it's not that much. But yeah, you're just taking a gamble on his health. I mean, you're taking a guy who's won it before, right? Whereas Campbell was never anything before he came to Toronto. He was a backup for the Los Angeles Kings. So now you're taking a gamble on Murray, who's shown in the past that he can do it. And one factor that is really important to me is that he did it for a team that was built to win. You had your Malkin, you had Crosby, you have Letang, you had people in the back end that played good defense. And now you have that in Toronto now too. I mean, Toronto just signed Mete and Jordy Ben as well. So I mean, they're trying to bolster their back end. They're trying to put a team in front of the goalie that can win. So now you just have to Murray just has to stay healthy. Can he stay healthy? I mean, I don't know.
But you just don't know what you're getting. With Campbell, you know exactly what you're getting. I understand maybe they didn't want to pay Campbell in the term for 5 years. I get that. But $5 million compared to 4.625 or whatever Matt Murray's being paid. And it's a risk. You're putting all your eggs in the basket in a must-win year with a guy who's had concussion problems. He's only played, 47 games over the last 2 seasons? From a GM to make this type of move, it makes no sense to me. I understand, goaltending, it's limited on who's out there. And if you don't have, Vasilevsky or someone of that caliber in the NHL, then you shouldn't be overpaying your goalies. But I just don't understand taking the risk on a guy who has concussion issues. He was essentially pushed out of Ottawa. He was pushed out of Pittsburgh as well. Yeah. Now he comes here, and this is the guy who's supposed to be our number one, or but the Leafs number one.
But Campbell's got 1 year of being a starter. Half the season he was very good. Half the season he was below average. And he's been given 5 years. And in 2 years' time, you got Austin Matthews up. You got all the dominoes to fall from there as well. You need as much money as possible. So it is a gamble, you're right, but so would Campbell be. Meanwhile, somewhere up behind the couch, there's Ilya Samsonov. You know what I mean? That can be pretty good as well.
What is it, $6 or $7 million for 2 goalies?
Yeah.
I mean, if the tandem works out, it rarely does. But if it does work out for $7 million, it's a steal.
That's what I like too, though. I mean, just quickly on is that, you bring in Samsonov, who's a former first-round pick. So he's got the potential pedigree as well to be somebody who could even step in for Murray if Murray's shaky, somebody who can step in for Murray if he's hurt. You're taking those risks with Campbell, too. You saw him miss a lot of games, too, with Toronto last couple of years. Yeah,
good point.
Now you don't have to pay him for the 5 years if he's going to be unhealthy. So now you only have Murray for 2 when he's unhealthy, right? If that's the case.
What a dilemma.
So it's a lot of mental gymnastics you're working with here. But I mean, having that backup policy with Samsonov, even if it's just for a year, and then maybe you sign him to a long-term deal if he works out. So
it was either him or Shalgren.
You know, Dubas is back there planning something diabolical. You just never know. It's all like the beautiful mind.
It's a great point, though. Until the season ices off, so to speak, you can't really judge him because everything's going to change, Who knows? Maybe they send Nylander out.
I mean, listen, if he could turn it around and be that goalie that he was in Pittsburgh,
great.
then you're getting one of the best goalies in the league.
Would have, could have, should have, right?
Yeah,
We're going to
exactly.
find out, I suppose, this season. Very quickly, I said it last time, but you guys went on too long with the Leafs.
Sorry.
Very quickly, British Open this weekend. Dustin Johnson right now at -9, very much in contention. A live golfer. Listen, you know I'm British, right?
Oh,
and I know how golf is revered in UK. And I know how golf courses and those that run golf courses are pretty high in themselves. A little bit arrogant. Love this. Love this. I would want to see their reaction if Dustin Johnson hangs on to win this thing.
my goodness.
It will crush the PGA.
I mean, it totally would. I mean, they're already very afraid of that happening, and that's why they've looked at trying to ban them from playing the majors next year. So, I mean, somebody like Dustin Johnson, who has many PGA wins, many PGA major wins, coming in and winning as part of the new LIV Tour, I think that would be devastating for
You know,
the
one
PGA.
thing I didn't think of is the players from the LIV Tour coming in with a chip on their shoulder. I didn't think that at all. I mean, I did bet Patrick Reed 100-1 because major winner, good golfer, and at those odds, how can you not bet him? But I never thought, like, hey, maybe these guys are coming in with a chip on their shoulder. I just thought they went to the LIV Tour for the money. They're not playing the best golf. But if you look at the leaderboard, you know, Dustin Johnson's in contention, Paul Casey, Taylor Gooch, who I didn't even know went over there. He's in, you know, Reed is, 4 under, Bryson DeChambeau is in there, Brooks Koepka made the cut. So these players came in wanting to prove a point, and they're playing well. And yeah, if they win the British Open, I don't know. It's just incredible.
Sadly, Tiger didn't make a point this year. We can't talk about him too much or at all, actually. But let's just leave it with a shot of Tiger. Thanks for the memories, Tiger. I think you're done.
No, James.
I hope I'm wrong. I do. But maybe it's time to focus on your course design or your family, maybe. Just a thought. Anyway, thanks, fellas. Enjoyed this.